Alright guys, and welcome into HDP, an episode of Hillary Duff's Prime, coverage of our Dynasty League, brought to you by ZBR Sports. We're here with the Conquistadors today, aka Slick Vic, as he's known in HDP. Vic, how are you?
I'm good, how about you guys?
I'm pretty good. It's good to see you again and have you here. I think this is year two's first time meeting, right?
Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Very
talked
cool.
a couple of times, so.
Yeah.
Very cool. You guys been playing fantasy football against each other for years now. Yeah.
This is, I think, my third year playing with you, so. it'll be
Yeah,
interesting.
total.
Yeah.
Over a span of 4 years since I don't think you guys wouldn't have played together
Was
last
he?
year.
Was he?
I didn't play at all last year, then.
Veeple? Were you ever in his league?
I remember Ripple.
Yeah.
I don't think he was in Veeple's league.
He wasn't?
No,
I don't think
Okay.
so.
no, just
Okay.
in the Hillary Dust one,
Yeah.
from my very first time meeting you, and the first time I ever played fantasy football, so.
Right on.
Yep.
I refer to as he who should not be named.
Yeah.
That too. I think that might have been you might have played I'm pretty sure you were there the first year of Hillary Just Prime, if I remember right.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't remember
pretty
honestly.
sure you were an OG
That was
of OGs, if I remember
2019,
right.
I think, something like that.
Yeah, and we would have started working together in 2018. So 2019, that would have been November. So yeah, 2019 would have been the year it started. So yeah, you would have been. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you would have been there. So
Good times.
yeah, a year one Hillary Dust Prime vet right here. So cool to have him on. So we're gonna talk. I guess go ahead. I guess we just introduced you a little bit. Do you have and kind of talked about your fantasy football stuff there a little bit. Do you have a fantasy football moment that's you're just really fond of, maybe a moment you're proud of, something like that?
To be fully honest, I was down, I think, like a decent amount of points one week going into Monday Night Football, and then between Mahomes and Travis Kelce, I came back and won in a very convincing fashion. It's probably the one I know is the best moment of my fantasy football ever career. So
That's cool.
Yeah. The Monday night victories where you come back from behind are very very sweet, and I can imagine that as a Chiefs fan.
Also hurts the
Or
most
Chiefs
too,
fan.
when you have a player and then they don't perform well. You lose by
Yeah,
a certain amount of
it's a
points.
double-edged sword for sure. But
it
I'm sure
really
as a
is.
Chiefs fan, getting a Monday night victory like that, especially with your Chiefs players, I'm sure was very very nice. But cool deal. Let's go ahead and talk about this past week at Hillary Duff's Prime, week 5. So I guess I'll go ahead and start with my matchup. Since we're right here, Carson kind of Sean Payton'd me.
I thought he had a bye week, honestly.
Yeah, that was a little harsh. I felt like, 'cause I feel like my roster's better than that. But I guess we all have our opinions.
It's like your opinion, man.
Yeah, that is his opinion, man. And my opinion was that I won, and that's also a fact. It's my opinion, and it's a fact. His is only an opinion, so. As far as talking the shit about it, I'm going to kind of leave it at that. He had a really nice outing out of Desmond Ridder, but Joey Burrow showed up for the first time this year and did Joey Burrow things, so I was able to kind of cover that.
I'm actually shocked by that. Joe Burrow, normally the last couple seasons I've known he's been stupid, phenomenal. Last year, coming off a Super Bowl appearance, going 0-2, and then all of a sudden just going on a rampage. So seeing him this year struggle is kind of shocking.
Yeah, I think it's been the injury.
Big calf injury.
I think it's really what it's been.
And I think that comes down to Zach Taylor not wanting to pull his head out of his ass.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. I don't.
You're paying your quarterback $55 million a year, so you might as well just have him play, but at the same time, that's legitimately your franchise quarterback. You can't fuck with that.
You're right.
Yeah. But as far as the matchup goes, he did outplay me a little bit at running back, but I was able to eat into that, and I guess by a couple points at receiver as well. But I covered pretty much all that up on my few points at tight end. Not that was even a big leap right there. I got kind of lucky. He had Aaron Jones in his lineup for a Monday night game who was questionable. And Aaron ended up getting ruled out a few hours before the game, so I did get a little bit of help there. I still could have won this game, because to say Aaron Jones was guaranteed going to get 23.9 points is tough to say. Is he totally capable of doing it 5,000%? But coming off an injury where he was limited work, obviously was still hurt, even if he had played. I don't think he would have won Carson the week. So, not going to take too much into that. I don't know why he dropped the Jets defense.
I was kind of curious about that.
Got the 41 points. Jets defense, one of the highest scoring just like players in our league this year.
The Chiefs
top
23, 27 points. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
To be fully honest.
They had the bad week against Dallas, but that's a respectable offense. And then the Patriots. And then, I mean, what do you expect with the Jets and the Patriots?
Yeah.
And then the Chiefs, good there. But then against Denver and against the Bills, looking really good. So,
yeah,
I don't know why he's overreacting there. I feel like he said something bad about them in the podcast, like he didn't think they were getting the job.
I must have missed that.
Maybe that wasn't him. Maybe I heard that on a different podcast.
I
listened to a lot of fantasy football stuff today.
But yeah, your guys' defense balled out.
Yeah.
Your individual players really showed up other than
defense is where I won this one today.
Mm-hmm.
This
that
past
definitely
week.
the Saints. Line the Patriots 0 points overall. That's kind of
my IDPs. His Aluokon Forsaid, Aluokon, kind of having a low week by his stretch, so that was nice. I even came back from the deficit with the Daniel Carr versus Daniel Jones battle right there. Breece Hall looked good. Appreciate him, Brady.
Yep.
Coming up, I think on a really good stretch up here. Really hoping that goes as well as I think it will. Hopefully he keeps getting some good work too.
I think that was his third ever 100-yard game, Breece Hall.
Yeah, but he catches the ball a lot too.
He does. I'm not trying to talk shit, but it's just like with the injuries he's had and stuff, like it's looks like he's turning a corner.
I sure
he's gonna be healthy. So I took a chance on a quarterback.
I mean, I think we both kind of took a fair chance there. I feel like it was a pretty fair deal.
I'd say it's not been working out for me really, but Dak's got a lot of value. So
it's 1 week.
It's 1 week.
So
for sure,
we will see. And I mean, Daniel Jones, I'm already taking a hit on that because he's hurt. He's not even going to hit.
And also it's Daniel freaking Jones.
But
2 point. He is capable of going off, but
he was higher ranked last year than Daniel Jones,
right?
And also, kind of going back to the Breece Hall, like with the matchup starting the year. I guess I didn't really get into that too much with Breece. He's coming off some bad matchups starting the year. Daniel Jones to start the year against Dallas week 1. We know what happened there, but that was going to be a bad week either way. Arizona, he exceeded expectations that week. He was QB1 that week.
He should have been.
San Francisco, nobody expects to have a good QB week against San Francisco, I don't think. Yeah. Seattle, a little disappointing there, but he's without Saquon Barkley. And then
his offensive lines are so bad too, dude.
And then he was
no receivers.
Yeah.
And then he played for about 68% of their offense of the game. And it already passed what he did the week before. Was at 14 points. It was probably going to hit 25, close to 30 fantasy points, which I'll take out of Daniel Jones as his floor. Because that's what I thought his floor was when I got him, was 25 points. And I think that's what Dak's floor is, too.
It is. I think Daniel Jones is much lower than that this year.
I should say his regular floor. Because obviously, Daniel Jones' floor this year so far is not 25 points. It's clearly not 25 points. But I think going forward, once they get healthy, obviously this week against Buffalo, he's not playing, which, good, I wouldn't play him against Buffalo anyways, especially with Barkley hurt. I think once they start getting healthy later in the year, I can start to maybe look at playing him against like a Washington or a Las Vegas, perhaps. But we'll see. We'll see there. But yeah, that was a satisfying win to get for sure.
I'm sure it was.
Excuse me. Burpage there. Going forward next one right here is actually implosion for the Trojans / Silly Nannies versus what is now Team Bryce. So Brady very much imploding. he done imploded.
I done imploded.
He been done imploded. 0-5 to start the year, losing to the team that was technically vacant at the time.
It's been a rough one. Dude, like start off the year with injuries and just bad luck, and then week 2 I think was just like a backbreaker, scoring that many points and still coming up with a loss, dude. It sucked. I like some of my players going to the future. I made a decision with 9 games left before the playoffs start. Like, I'd have to win like 7 or 8 out of 9 to really be in contention, man. And I'm like, that's like, bro, like, that's unrealistic.
Yeah.
I might as well lean into it. Like,
yeah.
So I got 4 picks going into this year's draft to really reshape my roster, which I'm pretty excited about. I mean, got hit on them though, but going to that matchup, I mean, well, obviously my running backs were again disappointing, especially with James Conner getting hurt. Mm-hmm. Jackson was in a tough division matchup against Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh.
I was kind of shocked because I have him in another league too. So
yeah,
I was kind of disappointed on how he was kind of starting off kind of bad, and then he kind of started peaking, and then I was waiting for I want him to slip up again. So I feel for you, dude.
Yeah, no, he could really go off for a lot of points, but he has one of those games where it's just like, yeah, he doesn't train wreck your fantasy team, but
he still got you 20 points.
Yeah, my running backs. James Conner's been really good up until he just got hurt. Stevenson, when you don't have a passing game, it's hard to get a running game going.
Trash offensive line.
Yeah, it's just... I feel for him because I feel like he can do so much more. He's just stuck.
He can. I will say I did hear some people, part of why I stayed away from him in the draft is like a lot of the guys I listen to that talk fantasy, like actual like people that talk like professional fantasy football. They were kind of low on him because like they were talking about like, I don't remember what exactly a couple of the averages were, but they weren't that great. Like when you actually like looked at what he was doing, now I just sound like I'm pulling some kind of random stat out of my ass because I don't remember what the stat was.
No, I totally get it.
But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't real high on him coming in on the year, and just like they were just kind of saying like his fantasy stats might have gotten like a little boosted.
Yeah.
Last year, maybe it was because of game script or something like that. I don't exactly recall.
Yeah, I read the same and saw the same about Dameon Pierce, but I haven't really keeping up with Dameon Pierce.
Yeah.
Just stay away from Dameon Pierce, and I think I've heard the same thing about Ramondre Stevens, so I feel you.
Yeah, definitely whiffed on that one. Which he could still come back, and he's still young.
Yeah.
He'd be all right, but also could be trade pieces. Another one, I had CeeDee Lamb, had another stinker. He's been up and down, like he can go off, but he wasn't really what I was expecting drafting him with my second pick, unfortunately. So got some good trade value for him with Zach, so that worked out for both.
Plus Michael Gallup.
Yeah, Michael Gallup, he's no slouch. It's a nice depth option there, and Zach's buying on the upside with CeeDee Lamb, which I totally understand. Like he's more than capable of doing more than what he's been doing.
And I think as the year goes on, he will do a little better.
And if Dak can pick it up, then that should happen. But if Dak's continuing the way he is, it might be an down year.
I need a kind of receiver, I feel like, with my team that I can plug in and normally count on for like a floor of like 15 points with an upside of like 30. And CD, I felt like, was my most realistic option to get one of those just because I know you're looking for draft capital. I didn't really like any of Tricky Dickey's receivers, so I didn't really have any options there. I know Victor's still trying to win this year, which we'll get into in a little bit, which I agree that you should. I think you do still have a chance, actually, which I won't even lie. There was a couple points in this year where I've already said about my team and yours as well, where I said we should both just try for next year. But leagues, I guess I was speaking too early, and the league is opening up right now, and there are some windows open right now. I can't say that right now we've stepped into like contendership area, but there are windows open.
Getting back into this matchup here, I'm just kind of with my team overall. So the draft didn't go as planned with like my bigger picks, but what I'm really pleased about is my depth picks that I actually hit on with like Christian Watson, Jacoby Myers, Warren out of Pittsburgh. A lot of good pieces that are good depth. Like I can have like Gibson's not a bad option to have, but really the big guys just kind of.
I really like Jalen Warren as like a flex 2 option for the rest of this year.
Oh yeah,
and I think he'll be like low end RB2 to high end RB2 next year.
Yeah, I think he's about to take over that role. He's a good pass catcher.
So I like him on your team a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think going forward, Hawkinson will be really nice to hang on to.
Oh yeah, he's young tight end. He's gonna be fine. He'll be fine.
We'll see what happens when and if Kirk Cousins is no longer a Viking here by the end of this year.
Land a franchise QB, and then he's a young tight end, so you don't get many of those to like build your team around, and there's not a lot of good tight ends in this league.
Yeah, I think.
I like Christian Watson. He's fast, and when he has played, his ceiling is, or his floor, I'm sorry, is like 13 points. So I mean, he hasn't even broken out yet. He can kill it. That's why I really bought high into him, because I know he hooked up with Rodgers a few times last year. Yeah, he had. So, like, last year, there was a stretch, like a 4 or 5 game stretch where he scored 34, 21, 23, 26, 20. Like, dude can, when he's healthy, he's just getting back to full strength. So, I like that. But my individual players are Cherokee. He balled out. Hamilton wasn't quite what I wanted as far as the last couple weeks, but I didn't really have an option because, Derwin James has been hurt. But I take another L. Probably one of the worst performances of the year. Only scoring 173 points.
Yeah.
Not much really else to say. And then I got my ass kicked, and the mission still continues. Implosion for the Trojan.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think more of the conversation should be about the other team on the other side, because, like we said, like, obviously imploding, some bad stuff here, but as far as the matchup goes this week, he, again, outside of a couple spots, it's a really good roster here, a really good starting roster. Pretty well showed out most of the spots.
Oh, yeah.
Some of these guys that aren't even technically regular starters on his team, like Calvin Austin, I don't think is the regular flex option there.
Yeah.
And who's the other one? AJ Dillon actually had a surprising game, kind of overperformed, I would say. Devontae Smith had a little bit of a stinker, quite a bit of a stinker, I guess, actually. But you don't count on that week to week. No. And really, if Bryce can get a little bit of a bench going here, maybe make a trade or something, he's definitely got a chance to maybe contend for like a top 3 spot this year, but certainly a spot to contend for a playoff position, definitely.
Absolutely.
Especially at 2 and 3, with where the league's at. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Let's go ahead and we'll just talk about the Conquistadors. Well, we'll go ahead and talk about the Conquistadors now, but we do have to talk about Titletown, because it is Titletown after all.
Yeah, unfortunately.
All right, but Victor, you picked up a win this week. You did not pick up a week against this win. You picked up a win this week against Tricky Dicky, which was definitely a much needed win.
Definitely.
Yeah, but before you dive into your team, I just want to say about your team that I was a couple weeks ago saying that you should just build for next year, but I do think that you actually have a chance to compete for a playoff spot this year with the windows that are open, and I think that barring a couple of moves that you have made, you would potentially have, well, actually one move you made and then an injury, I think you would have maybe going forward the highest upside and potentially the best roster.
Saving grace is Kamara, really.
Going forward.
With
I'm actually kind of glad.
The Nick Chubb injury was absolutely killer.
Yeah.
Absolutely killer. If you still had Nick Chubb, you might have the best front, like, starting 6 right there. You might have the best starting 6 in the league.
Yeah.
Between Tua, Chubb, Kamara, Cup, Moore, and Kelsey. That's tough to match up with right there.
You got George Kittle, too.
Yeah, they got George Kittle.
And then
who is kind of boomer bust.
Brock Purdy.
Very, very true.
And Brock Purdy is the
QB2,
and he has he's like QB3 in the league, I think.
7 right
7
now.
Oh, 7? Oh, okay.
Still, bro.
Yeah.
That's really impressive.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what you're doing with the Broncos defense still, my guy.
I kind of went with them just because I know how last year they were one of the top 5, top 7 defenses.
Dog, they gave up 70 points though.
Yeah, that's what's kind of tough for me to look with.
I implore you to check the free agent pool because there are much better options. Like the Jets, who we mentioned earlier.
Jacksonville.
I've thought about switching defenses up there every now and then, but I just kind of stick with them for now.
Aside from the Chubb move, I think the one move that keeps you from being like potentially one of the best rosters in the league was when you dropped Palmer for Miller, because he has potential to be like one of the best handcuffs of the season. I personally did not understand that move.
I went after him when he dropped him.
He had like 4 claims.
Did.
Yeah, he had 4 claims. I wanted him. I think it was the 3. It was you, Titletown, all 3 of us, Titletown. I think there was someone else too. Whoever actually got him. Who ended up getting him? Was it Tricky Dicky?
Carson, I think.
Oh, Carson. Either way.
TDs.
Yeah, but other than that, roster's pretty solid. Yeah, I mean the IDPs you could upgrade, but those are so interchangeable week to week. I can't even nitpick on IDPs honestly, just because you can week to week find out a linebacker on the waiver wire that's gonna get you 25 points. Yeah. And you never know. It's hard to predict when they're gonna have a stinker.
Yeah, it's very true. It's when it was kind of hard for me to want to start with. Like Bosa, he's one of the number 1 defensive players in the league, but yet he's kind of jumps back and forth. And then Darius Slay too, he kind of jumps back and forth every now and then too. So he had the one week I could have started him, he actually had a really good game, but I said someone else. I think it was Jeremy Chin. So
the Zach Moss move is also looking genius as hell.
Yeah, honestly, I'm kind of shocked.
Well worth the 2nd round pick. Like fuck, like. He I think he's what does he rank as among RBs in our league right now? Let me pull that up.
RB 6, 31 overall.
Is that on the year?
So far, yes.
Wait, Isaiah Pacheco?
Yeah, he's been balling, dude.
He's number 1 on the year?
I don't know about number 1, but...
Ain't no way that just upgraded. Okay, there we go. Okay, now it updated. I was like, Isaiah Pacheco. I was like, ain't no fucking way. Yeah, Zach Moss, RB6 so far on the year. So, getting RB10, or top 10.
They paid him that money, and then comes out and almost gets 200 yards. Like, he should just have value for Taylor.
Yeah, well, I think they still might. Now that he's actually got a contract, I think it actually might be easier to trade him.
Maybe.
Even though they did pay him, I think just...
That's one of the few teams that do pay running backs.
I think the contract being established, though, and, like, it being unknown, I don't know. Maybe I'm just there.
What I'm thinking...
As opposed to being, like, the team being like, well, we've got to trade for him, now we got to get this year out of him, and hope we can re-sign him in the offseason, as now they can be like, well, at least now if we trade for him, we know we've got him for the next however many years the deal was for. Was it 3 or 4?
Yeah, 3, I think.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I still would not be surprised if they move off him, especially with Richardson missing the year. It's obviously not going to be their year to go with the playoffs. Zach Moss already proven he can.
Unless you want to get value out of Zach Moss, but...
You're not getting you're getting the value out of... Yeah.
Taylor.
Yeah. You're not getting enough out of Zach Moss right now, I don't think.
I guess you'd have to ball
on a
off
football field. I feel like you're getting maybe a 6th round pick at best.
Really?
For Zach Moss,
Yeah.
Maybe.
Personally, because he wasn't expected to do anything before the year. He was a backup for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, Eckler kind of came out of nowhere, too, behind Melvin Gordon that year.
That's true, but, I mean, Eckler wasn't as established as Zach Moss. We've seen more Zach Moss, I feel like, than we'd seen of Eckler at the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. We could probably go back and forth on this right here forever.
Yeah.
But, Victor, about that matchup you had last week, how did you feel about picking up that win?
I felt really good, honestly. I don't even think I was set to win to begin with.
And no, I don't. Yeah, I think the projection had tricky. Yeah.
So I was like, I kind of just go with it, and then I just kind of hope for the best. And then DJ Moore just goes off and gets me like 50-some points, and I was like, what? Okay, where was that? Was the first 4 weeks of the season, so I was kind of impressive. And then it didn't help that Tricky Dicky has Justin Fields as his quarterback, so it was kind of okay. So who's gonna get the most out of it? And then turns out I came out with the win because Kittle goes the fuck off for the first time this season, so that was a pretty, pretty
nice to get that. I bet that feels good to get that going.
It did, because honestly, there was moments where I was like, I started second guessing that Kittle trade.
Maybe I need
All of
to
his catches were for
trade
touchdowns.
Trade back or
Yeah.
try to get
Something
try
else
to
out of
trade away. But I'm glad I stuck with them because honestly, when it comes to tight ends, fantasy wise, Kelsey's usually is normally the number one to go with.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
Andrews is up there too.
Yeah, Andrew's number 2, I would say,
Yeah.
and then over the recent years, probably Kittle is just the number 3 by default.
Yeah.
But he's kind of just more boom or bust. The other guys are just more like you can pencil them in. Like Kelsey, he's getting 20 to 30 fantasy points every single week. There ain't no question about it. If he's playing, he's getting his points.
It is a fun fact, actually. Every year I've played fantasy football, I've selected Travis Kelce within my first 2
Don't
picks.
doubt that for a second.
I'm sorry. It's just like one thing that I.
No, I get it. That's your team. That's your guy. And I mean, if I had been playing back when Gronk and Gronk was playing for Patriots, I would have been all over Gronk every single year too.
I agree.
Gronk and Brady, you can believe that. I'd have been dick riding that like crazy.
Given he's one of the most unguardable tight ends ever in NFL history.
But yeah, you absolutely shit on him at the wide receiver matchup. Cooper Kupp came back, did Cooper Kupp things. And then, like you already said, DJ Moore going off, and then he got a total of 3.10 points out of his receivers. So I think that's pretty fair to say that's where you got your win. Because actually, what's this margin of win right here? You got 277 even right there. He's 229. So that's basically 40 points.
Yeah, 40. Well, there's about a 40-point spread.
Yeah. I mean, that's a 50-point spread just between the receivers right there. There's more than that. So they definitely uplifted you right there. Obviously, you won the even though he did have Mark Andrews, who didn't have a bad fantasy day. Definitely won that. Flex, you won that. You won that with Kittle. Super flex, you won that with Purdy. Yeah, you really just kind of hammered him in down over and over again. He won the defense battle. Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. All the way through IDP, he won that. But yeah, it's cool to see your team clicking like that because I definitely root for you. And I will say that like after that Thursday night game with Fields, and I saw that, I was like, damn. Fuck Victor's life. DJ Moore finally goes off for him, and he's playing against Justin Fields. I was like, fuck this guy's life. I was like, fuck, bro, you better start tanking. But then Sunday comes around, and the league really shook itself up. And
Purdy was probably one of my best players so far. And Tua, honestly, like I honestly was when I drafted Tua, like when I was, I think my 3rd pick, I think it was. I was kind of iffy on Tua. I was like, do I want to go with him given his injury from last year? I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a chance. And so far, he's been playing very good dividends for me, minus like a week or two here and there. But he's been probably my best pick so far.
Yeah, Tua was definitely a smart pick, especially in our being a dynasty league. It looks like the health concerns. I don't think you really have to worry about too much anymore, especially since it was just something like a concussion, not like something that's going to like a shoulder injury that's going to nag with him or deteriorate over time. If he's healthy now, that shouldn't linger with him. So really good pick up there. Let's go ahead and move on to the last one we'll talk about for last week. Titletown Bearcats at Diversity Hires. Titletown showing why they are Titletown. Reed doing Titletown things. Winning by 1/10 of a point, 246.4 to 246.3 against the New York Diversity Hires.
Legitimately winning by the speed of your teeth.
Yeah, he couldn't have cut it any closer. Josh Jacobs, who he renamed Jay Longdong in the league. I think Jay Average Peen is a more suitable name for Josh Jacobs. But that's a different discussion. Pretty balanced matchup. Got similar production out of a lot of the different spots. Diversity Hires won the running back battle, which I think was probably to be expected with Montgomery and Robinson, even though Robinson actually kind of underperformed. Reed receivers, low-key, I think receiver might be a problem for Reed. He's especially if Derek Carr can't get the ball down the field to Olave all year. Tight end.
He's checking it down to Kamara now, which is even more of a problem.
And with Kamara, that's Kamara's strength. So do you really think that's going to change?
No. I don't at all.
So that's great for you. Derek Carr.
You hit the right on the nail, dude. Like he's got a really good roster, but his weakness, is receiver.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. Like he's got Olave, which is nice, but Flowers, he's good rookie, but he's not going to explode for a crazy amount of points. But yeah, he obviously hit on Laporta, so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Laporta was somebody that I've seen. I thought about too every now and then, but I was like, I don't know, unproven, blah blah blah. So it's really kind of hit and miss. So
the only reason I didn't draft him is because he had the same bye week as Hawkinson. I had an opportunity.
Yeah,
probably shouldn't have just cared about that at all.
Yeah,
that was a mistake on my end. But
especially with the way hindsight's 2020 with the way the year's gone.
Yeah, definitely.
But also hindsight 2020. Would you be 0-5 if you had Sam Laporta on your team too?
Depends on week 2, but other than that, probably not. I'm at 1-4 at best.
Yeah,
it might change a win.
I guess his scoring isn't that dramatic because it is just tight end scoring.
Yeah.
Reed. Actually, I will save that take for the power rankings. I'll save that take for the power rankings.
Oh man. That's gonna be interesting.
I don't even know, stuttering over my words here. Doing Titletown things. Close matchup here. Pulled it out. Where did he win this at? Because a lot of these look pretty even.
He would have slightly won it in,
I guess, with a little bit with
his
Hurts.
tight end and his individual defensive, or his defense, obviously. So that's probably where. And then,
yeah, I would say probably either.
No, he lost IDP.
No, I'm talking about his defense.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I guess, it looked right over the Commanders being 4 points. That's definitely where he won. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, defense, and then of course he has both Hurts and Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins underperformed, but
that's also something he might have to address in the future too, soon. Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. Because who knows what's going to happen with him?
Let's say tag him.
Honestly, he's already been tagged twice with Washington. If you were to tag him, it would be a ridiculous amount of money. So he's almost untaggable.
I don't think it'll happen. I think they'll try to get some capital for him at some point this year, or he'll end up walking for nothing, which
get a comp pick.
Knowing the Vikings.
Yeah. The least they would get is probably a 3rd round comp pick if he walked for nothing.
Was that Lightning?
Yeah, that was
it's a crazy lightning show out there.
That was wild.
Oh. Yeah.
We've had a storm going on all day, and I guess another one's rolling its way back in.
Yeah.
All right. As far as week 5, we don't have to get into these matchups, but I will just say that Team Nolan beat AB's Welfare 285 to 230. Snowbone, OG Snowbone beat Team Tree J 220 to 186. Nope, then that would be all the matchups we covered. So we can go ahead and move forward to the players of the week, who were Justin Fields, Travis Etienne, Jamar Chase, Dallas Goedert. What is his first name? What's Fairbairn's first name? Kaimi
Fairbairn.
Kaimi Fairbairn. TJ Watt, shout out, represent. L'Jarius Sneed, he was starting. Just for the vacant team, that's right. Fred Warner, and the Saints defense putting up 51 points, which was nice, even though it was against my Patriots. Bench warmers of the week, Kenny Pickett at quarterback, Zach Moss, Curtis Samuel, Cole Kmet, what's his first name? Cameron Dicker, I'm guessing Jalen, right? Yeah, Jalen Carter, Jalen Petrie, Terrell Bernard, and the 49ers defense.
Who does not start the 49ers defense at any given time? Who does not?
Who has it? Who is it? Oh, Tricky Dicky.
Who
do they play?
The Dallas.
It doesn't even matter.
Yeah. How do you not start them, period? Like, that's like a guaranteed, you're gonna do.
I mean, I could see if you're
especially
playing
if Fred Warner and,
the Chiefs maybe, or the Eagles, you might be like, do I have a better option on defense? But 98% of the league, you're playing San Francisco. You have to. It's just ignorant. Especially when they're almost predicted to score 30 points a week. Come on.
I had recorded a solo piece where I kind of talked about some of the lower end teams and what I thought each of us should do, like from an unbiased opinion going forward for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And it was funny when I was talking about Tricky's team. I got to talk about what should you do. And I was like, maybe, and I almost said it here again, which is why I'm thinking about it now. I was like, maybe he finally accepted that he's not going to win this year and he's thinking about next year. But then I always remember I've got his draft pick, so he's got to play for this year.
Yeah.
Or hit that waiver wire, or trade for some other pick. But weekly awards: most efficient manager, AB's welfare, got 229 out of 229.53 out of 236.03 points. That's really nice. That's not a nice total points, but he really milked everything he could have got out of it. Crazy Slick Vic putting up 277 points, which is already a really high score, was still the least efficient manager. You could have put a 344, which would have shattered the league record, which I think is like 302, 303, something like that right now.
Because I
think actually got put up on you, if I remember right now. I'm thinking about. I think it was Dong on TDs that did it to you. One of these weeks. It was.
I can't remember
who was it.
So I just kind of thought Jonathan Taylor wasn't going to be eased into it if he would just go and ball out, but I wasn't expecting Moss to show why he's still a damn good running back, and I'm
I guess
not dropping him anytime soon.
I definitely would not drop him because there's if you don't drop him, there's definitely trade value to be had out there. Someone will give you something for him.
Probably.
Highest points and loss was Carson Sherbert, that's how it reads, was Carson, a.k.a. Dong on TDs, who was on the show last week, talking shit about my team. He lost to me, 247, highest points and loss. Lowest points and win, OG Snowbone. I have a take about him, similar to Reed in the upcoming segment, or Power Rankings. He had the lowest points and win, 219.65. Biggest blowout was the currently vacant team against the Crash for Caleb, Silly Nannies.
Implosion for the Trojan.
Implosion for the Trojan. Sorry, Crash for Caleb.
That was the first one.
Narrowest victory was Titletown, obviously, with his 0.1 victory over the Diversity Hires. Overachiever was myself against Carson, although we're not overachieving. Those projections just aren't right. Underachiever is Brady with Implosion for the Trojan. But, like we've already established in the show, that's the goal anyway, so mission well accomplished, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is the goal, Implosion for the Trojan. I mean, am I actively, purposely trying to lose? No, I'm not. I'm trying to put out the best roster weekly to...
Yeah, you gotta compete, but...
That's the one thing I had an issue with, when I first started, because, I never played fantasy football before. I kind of just went with what was going on. So, okay, this guy might do good, this guy didn't do good. I didn't really look at anything else, so it was kind of, my very first year, it was kind of a learning curve.
Yeah.
And I'm still on it. This is the first time I ever played a Dynasty League, too, so it's
I would tell you what, my first year was a big learning curve. I was... I didn't know what I was doing, and then you slowly figure it out. Your first year, oh shit, I should have drafted so many players on a certain amount of team, and that becomes a problem.
I think that was one of my big things. I drafted a lot of Chiefs players. My very first year playing fantasy football.
Was your first year in HDP as well?
Yeah.
I don't really remember your draft. I do remember your draft. I remember you did, like you said, you did have 7 Chiefs players.
I had half my team was the Chiefs. Half my team was the Chiefs players. And that kind of just slowly got little by little got better and better, and then of course I think I ended up in not dead last, but I was third to last my first year, and then my second year I come up in I think somewhere in the top 4, so I was kind of pretty impressed with that achievement too. So it's kind of even I'm still learning a little more than that. Even though taking a year off, I'm still kind of learning a little bit here and there. So it's still I feel your pain, dude. Going winless. Going winless is not fun, but at the same time, it's just that's one thing. He who shall not be named. I had an issue with because it's a skill game. It's no, it's not really skill. It's just you have to get. It's all luck.
Scouting players, it can be. But it also is a lot of luck too, and whether you're playing them on the right match of that.
True.
I get both sides to it, but
Skill might be the wrong word. Knowledge would probably be
doing a lot of
as opposed to
research.
skill.
But
Which he had
I
a
would
lot
say
of time.
it's probably like I would say about 80%, 80% luck, and the other 20% is more or less skill. And then you can throw in, if you want to take a little away from the luck, you can add into
I
knowledge and
part of the skill
preparedness.
comes into drafting your team, though.
Very
That's
true.
obviously.
And when to.
I think I would go
Yeah.
probably about 70-30% for fantasy football as a whole, in the opposite favor of what you said, like 70% knowledge and like 30% luck. Is I think what I would chalk it up to personally.
Yeah.
Because you do got to catch breaks in fantasy football.
You do, and
You do.
avoiding
Dudes
injuries.
beating matchups and stuff
I would
like
almost
that.
be 60-40. Like a lot of it's injuries, man. Like, you just like
Injury luck.
You just don't know, man.
Who you're matching up with on the other side? Who you're playing
Certain
that week?
matchups players are having in like certain weeks. It really does. You factor in both, but yeah, not the ideal start for me, but. And if it was like a 1-year league, I'd be pretty upset. But when you're in a dynasty league, you're like, okay, I can fix this. Like, you get draft capital, especially with this draft coming up and all the skill players coming out, like it's ridiculous. So it would be the draft to do it.
I agree. So we moved past the weekly awards. Let's go ahead and let's move on to the league standings. I guess I'll just go ahead and fly through them real quick.
Hang the banner.
Yeah, hang the fucking banner. Proven he can win in any fashion. Blowout fashion.
Any weather
Mid-tier
conditions.
fashion. Close game. Snow game.
Rain,
Clear
snow,
sky.
sleet.
Night game. Monday night. Sunday night. Thursday morning. Fuck it, Wednesday morning.
Titletown in 4.
Yeah. Hang the fucking banner. It's about to be Title City
Yeah.
before too long at this rate.
Title country.
if he goes undefeated, I'm gonna be pretty impressed. But at the same time,
undefeated in
I
fantasy
think the
is
hottest
That's
start
the
I've
hardest thing
ever.
to do. Period.
The hottest start I've ever had was it was 2 years ago. I won the whole thing. I started off like 10-0 and then slipped up like the next 2 years. It's hard.
yeah,
It really is, especially with your bye week.
It really is.
So even winning or losing only like maybe 2 games is super impressive. Super impressive. But yeah,
Yeah, Titletown's still firmly at number 1, 5-0, undefeated, only undefeated team. Snowball moving up to second, 4-1. Dong on TD sliding down to third at 3-2. Nolan Berry getting above 500 up to 3-2. AB's Welfare down a couple of spots off a tough loss, 3-2. I don't put a lot of stock into that loss personally, not to get spoiled too much of my power rankings. Diversity Hires, they're at 6th, 3-2 as well. Team 7th place, Bryce Cooper. 8th place, the Toronto Tate Stains. Tree J at 9th, the Conquistadors at 10th. All of us are all 2-3 right now. And all of us except for Tree J, coming off a win. Bryce, Toronto Tate Stains, and Conquistadors. Is that how you say that right?
Conquistadors.
Conquistadors, okay.
Translation conquers in Spanish.
Okay, I Googled it one time, and it just came up, all it said was just one of the Spanish, and just something like that, so I wasn't sure. I could obviously tell it was something with Spanish culture or something of the sort, but I couldn't never figure out exactly what it was. And then rounding out the bottom league, we got Tricky Dicky at 1-4, and Implosion for the Trojan at 0-5.
let's go.
Yep. I think one of those teams is happy to be at the bottom. I think one of the other teams is probably pretty frustrated.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that you're happy to be there, but you were very accepting, and I think you were very much. I think you were
About week 3, I
From
was
what I
pretty
gathered.
upset.
yeah.
Going 0-3, I was like, all right, I can turn it around still. Then going 0-4, I'm like, I'm done.
But being a dynasty league and knowing you're gonna have the number 1 draft for the next rookie next year, it's got to be kind of fun though
It
too,
is
or
fun.
trying to have it. I guess you don't
Sure.
know it.
But it depends on who's gonna be the number 1 player to come out of the.
Right now, looking like Caleb Williams probably.
But Caleb Williams already says that the team that doesn't get the number 1 pick
I
isn't
don't buy
gonna.
that shit for a
Same
second.
thing. And you got Shadur Sanders, who says if Caleb Williams comes into the league this year, he's not
I
going
can
to
see-
play second fiddle to Caleb Williams. So
I think
Shadir, I don't even think is going to be that good anyways, but
I don't know about
I
that.
don't know.
He's,
as a pro, we'll see.
we'll see. He's got some intangibles I like, but I think Caleb's going regardless. I could see him going and then saying, let's say Chicago has the first pick. I could see him pulling an Eli Manning. I could see him pulling a John Elway, where he's like, I'm not playing for that garbage ass franchise. And normally I'd be like, I hate that shit, but who the fuck wants to play for Chicago?
Honestly,
I mean,
as
you
much as
really
I hate
just go-
Chicago,
You go back to school at that point if you don't want to play for Chicago.
I hate my Chicago Bears hate is well established on this show. But even still, I hate that shit.
So
I
if
still
you
hate
if you
that
were
shit.
in his position, number one pick, you're
then
Caleb Williams,
then,
would
then
you
just go back.
to
Then just
school?
go back to school. Is what I'm saying.
You would
But
risk
don't-
all that money.
No,
You
you
wouldn't
either
just
go back to school where you're already getting paid to play football. You're already
Yeah.
getting paid to play
Yeah.
football.
$4 million.
Handsomely, apparently a lot. Apparently more than he's going to make in the NFL.
No, that's
Not
not.
really,
That's
no, it's
lies.
not.
That's
Yeah,
complete
but I'm saying if
bullshit.
that's what he's saying, you go back in the NFL. Don't pull that. Oh, I'm not playing for that team. I don't
hate
don't
it
like that
too.
shit even for Kobe, and I get Kobe. That's a totally different thing. And totally different.
Yeah.
Any sport, whatever. I don't like the whole. Oh, I'm not playing for that team. Then go back to college, and
I guess
if
I
you're
would.
at the end of your line, tough shit. You should have came out sooner.
I don't know.
Sure.
I mean, if
I think it's a bum move.
I don't know if it's Chicago, I get it. I get it.
I'm actually kind of being a Chiefs fan. I'm kind of glad that Patrick Mahomes didn't go to Chicago because he would have not.
Well, Chicago passed on him, right?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I
They
mean,
would've
yeah,
ruined it.
that's a different
They would
situation.
have ruined it.
True, but like true because nobody
Yeah.
would come.
Yeah,
no one would be
obviously.
Patrick Mahomes was a finished product when it came in. It would have ruined him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They
He
would-
wouldn't have.
So
He
you gotta
wouldn't
think
have
about it.
developed.
I mean, I get
near
that.
as
Like,
well.
yeah, you just go back to college if you don't want to. You disagree with that move, but it's just like, god damn, like that's a big decision to make if it's one of those garbage ass franchises. But I think he could probably turn around a franchise like that though, because he's that good. I guess if they saw DJ Moore, he could probably do it. But not to get too far, and then also Drake May.
And it also comes down to also coaching and who you have around you as well too.
I can see them probably cleaning house again with coaching staff. Cause
Yeah.
I can see that
I
happening.
think
too.
that's a problem in the NFL too. I think people are bailing off coaches too quick these days. Just like a year or two.
I
Like,
agree.
A lot of old school
Unless-
coaches got to get
unless-
the time to build up the culture, get their players in and stuff.
I agree, but there is certain exceptions.
Yes,
where you're
absolutely,
like-
absolutely.
where
There's
you're like,
exceptions.
holy shit.
Yeah, yeah,
You're
yeah.
bad.
Like last year in Denver. Like you're
Or-
like obviously
or the
this
Bears.
is not going to work.
Or the freaking Bears coach right
Or
now.
yeah, or
You know what I
or
mean?
the Bears coach right now.
He's a
Um,
freaking train wreck, man.
Yeah, there are exceptions to it, but I do think it is
and
also
as a whole, I
problem.
agree, but there is like those little exceptions. You're like, okay, good guy. You're obviously not a head coach. Like
Yeah.
you were a coordinator at best. So yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I guess before we jump into our power rankings, we'll just do a quick overhaul of some of the recent transactions through the week. Let me go back to Thursday because I know Reed had updated us through last Thursday, I believe, right, was when you guys recorded?
Yes,
With
this was
Carson.
Thursday. It was during the
Is
Commanders
that
Bears game.
October 7th?
Sounds right.
What's today?
October 12th?
No.
Yeah, it's October 12th. So it would have been October 5th.
5th, okay. Okay, so we actually have a lot here, and I'm not going to read through all this because October 7th was... Oh, I guess a lot of that's just me moving people around. So I guess the 7th, we didn't have any activity the 6th. The 7th moved some players into some taxi spots for Reed and Carson, who they'd actually asked for already. Tricky Dicky dropped Allen Robinson, who will probably be a free agent for a good portion of the year.
Because Allen Robinson's kind of hit and miss.
Yeah, and
one
mostly
year.
miss.
Mostly very miss. I had him 1 year and I was like very disappointed in his production. So I was like,
Yeah, he is mostly disappointing. Slick Vic picked up McDuffie over Harris. I like that. McDuffie's been a pretty solid DB this year.
and
And
I
he
kind
needed some
of
IDP help, and Damian Harris has been not very relevant. Brady, you dropped Parham?
It did.
Did anybody pick him up? I did not notice that. What in
Okay.
the world?
Well, if you look, I got Tyler Conklin, and he's been very
I did see that. I did see
very
that. Yeah.
steady. So
And I respect the Tyler Conklin move for sure.
Yeah.
Parham is just a player I would like to stash. Latavius Murray, I don't hate that. He's touchdown
I
dependent.
dropped him today for the
okay.
Ingrams. Yeah.
Okay.
He was
that makes
touchdown
sense.
dependent. Then he had I was planning on keeping him, but I'm like, okay, this guy's the lead back for Arizona. I got to make a roster spot.
I don't think he's going to be quite a lead back thing. I think it's going to be pretty
Right,
small.
but he's just for depth here.
Yeah.
Honestly, if something does happen, like he would be the lead back. So
Who did you just pick up? Roster. What'd you just do, Vic?
I just dropped the Broncos defense for the
Oh,
Jets defense, so I figured
Smart move. Smart
that
move.
was smart. I like the 6th overall defense on the season.
Yeah.
I think they only had one bad.
Before this episode's over, I'm gonna actually ask you something. Tricky Dicky ended up picking up Palmer for Mooney. Great move. Mooney's not doing a lot. Palmer should be a good handcuff, as we said earlier. Snowbone dropped Shaq Leonard. I think he might have just been there to cover a bye week. I'm not sure. He also picked up Breida. Well, that's actually probably why he dropped him. Picked up Greenlaw. Conquistadors dropped Jay Brents. Welfare dropped Elijah Mitchell. Jalen Phillips? Yeah, Jalen Phillips of the Dolphins was dropped. Seed Bynum was picked up in place of D. Hill for Titletown, making Titletown moves. The Conquistadors picked up Brandon Cooks in place of Von Miller. I actually think the Brandon Cooks could be sneaky at some points this year. Gardner Minshew, I actually looked for him today and then saw that he'd already been picked up by a Tree J for Leonard Fournette, who I'm surprised was still rostered. Raiders picked up for the Commanders defense Emmanuel DeMarcado, that's his name, picked up by Snowbone, who I actually think is going to be the main guy you'll see out of Arizona. But like I said, I think it's going to be pretty 50-50. In place of Leighton Vander Esch, Tony Jones picked up by Titletown. That's a good pickup. Thank God it wasn't a receiver. Dong on TDs picking up Van Jefferson. Getting close here. Tricky Dicky picked up Zay Jones, who actually I also thought about picking up this week in place of Sky Moore. I don't know if I would have dropped Sky Moore for Zay Jones. I think Sky Moore might improve as the year goes on, as just gets more rapport going there and gets things going. Dong on TD's dropped the Jets defense, who was just picked up. For Houston defense, I picked up Malik Cunningham because I'm hoping and praying he gets a chance to play for New England because I don't think it's going to be... Bailey Zappi isn't the answer, and Mac Jones, I feel like probably has a pretty good chance to get benched this year. So I went ahead and threw him on my taxi squad, and I picked up Van Ginkel and dropped Taylor Heineke, not Silly Nannies, Implosion for the Trojan. Picked up Tyler Conklin, as mentioned. Also picked up, what's his first name? Brandon Powell of the Vikings. Might actually be a pretty nice pickup there with Jefferson going out now. What's he been doing all the year before that?
Brandon Powell, he mostly returns punts, but he has he has a couple of jet sweeps too. So
that could actually be a really nice piece then. Yeah, because he's got 11 points right here against KC. So if he can, what did he do? Oh yeah, if he's getting like four catches and like 6 targets a game, like 40 yards.
Plus punt returns,
Yeah, you're looking at like a Rashid Shaheed kind of player right there, who is like a wide receiver 12 this year, low key.
Yeah, he could be a sneaky good pick for a couple weeks. So
Keontae Ingram, you picked him up for Latavius Murray. We just mentioned that.
Yep.
Jones picked up linebacker for AB's welfare. Salvon Ahmed picked up. I think he'll probably be dropped again. Well, actually, no, never mind. Bryce Coop dropped to Forrest Buckner. Probably a smart move. Couple of trades went down. Me and Brady here did trade, as we mentioned earlier. I sent a first-round pick for this year and second round for this year, right? They're both for this year?
Yep.
And Michael Gallup in turn for CeeDee Lamb. And then Titletown, making more Titletown moves, sent Dameon Pierce in turn for Chris Godwin. So addressing the wide receiver a little bit there.
Yeah, actually, that would be addressing it. He desperately needed that.
Yeah.
So,
Dameon Pierce is kind of stretched for Chris Godwin.
I agree. But I think he really needed a running back.
I don't think it's a stretch at all. I think it's actually a stretch for Reed, just because Chris Godwin...
Pierce has actually been coming along the last couple of weeks.
He's getting 20 attempts a game. 20 rushing attempts, plus with
Yeah.
any passing targets on top
Especially
of that.
for
Is
future with CJ Stroud, that actually
great workload.
So really didn't look too much into that. Maybe
I really didn't like that, and I tried to look at something to swoop in and try and steal that, but I don't really think I have anything that Reed wants. But yeah, I definitely think I could have done better than Chris Godwin.
I should have looked more into that.
But I feel like both guys probably getting a little bit of what they need. AB's welfare, I need to go look at his rush before I definitely say. I feel like running backs probably is his weakness a little bit. I know he's got a Chan, or HN. But honestly, we'll see as the year goes on. I feel like the Dolphins kind of freak show offense maybe a little bit, and they're going to have a lot of committee stuff going on down there throughout the year.
When you have Mostert, Achan, and
Ahmed. There's Jeff Wilson's coming back. There's another guy down there too. I forget his name, who's obviously not starter level, but relevant. I mean, gets plays. So relevant there, and then just only other transaction was Salvador was actually dropped again, and he picked up Greg Dulcich, Broncos tight end. So that's all the transactions for the week, and we will move on to our power rankings for the week. Which one of you guys would like to go first?
Oh, I guess I can go.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so this is pretty tough. So we're coming in at number 1. Gonna have to put Reed there. Finally,
Oh, you did it.
I did.
Why?
Just based off.
I kind of had to go with him.
Yeah, but it's
All right,
really
that's fine. Go
it's
ahead.
really by default, and I don't think he had. This is power rankings. This is power rankings. This isn't like who I think has the best roster technically right this second, but like as of right now, he's the only undefeated team. He has more points scored than OG, so I have to put him over OG for right now.
See, but all right, I'll go ahead. I'll say this.
And then-
Go ahead.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna put. Sorry, I have Dong on TD still at 2, just because I still think he has the best roster despite losing. Then I have OG at 3, Nolan at 4, AB at 5, and the diversity hires coming in at 6. So kind of the same as like the league power rankings. Jimmy at 7. Yeah, Bryce Coop probably. I don't really like his depth, but actually, you know what? I'm gonna switch that. I'm gonna put Taint Stains at 7. I'm gonna put Coop at 8, just based off of Taint Stains' roster moves and trades that he's made. So, then TJ 9, and then I'm gonna put Conquistadors at 9. TJ 10, Tricky Dick 11, and myself at 12. So that is my power rankings. Dead last. Why don't you go, Ed?
No, I want to save mine for last because I have a couple of hot takes. Victor,
That's
you go.
awesome.
Okay, so I have to agree with Brady, Blowjob the Children, Bearcats title time number 1. I do like, I also look at the points for it, and I kind of go with Dong on TDs at 2, and then OG Snowbone at 3, and then like we kind of go back and forth on Nolan and Abs Welfare. Both of them are pretty decent records, but at the same time it's Nolan 4 and then Welfare 5. At number 6, I'd probably move the Taint Stains to 6, and then after that it's Bryce, and then TJ, myself, Tricky Dicky, and then Blowjob the Children last. And I'm kind of I'm good friends with Zach, so I'm kind of giving him a little stroke job there. No,
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Haven't gotten any action in a while.
Being a married man, it kind of just like.
Shit. Well, I hope he does horrible. He got his pick, so.
Who's that?
You.
Why?
I got your pick.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, all right. So my power rankings for the week. Number 1, still Dong on TDs. Even though I just beat him. Just feel like it's a really good roster.
Right now, Reed's just like fucking shaking that.
I know. He's number 1 in points scored. Third in total points potential and points potential.
Mm-hmm.
Dong on TDs. He's had to go against the 5th most points against him. So just kind of think he's hit a couple of matchups against an underrated team like the Taint Stains. I forget who his other loss was to.
Reed.
To Reed. Titletown, of course it was. Yeah, but I can't put Reed at number 1. I will tell you right now, Reed will not be number 1 in my power rankings a single time this year. I don't care what happens. Until he wins the league, Titletown will not be number 1 in my power rankings. Number 2 in my power rankings, Nolan. He's shaking even harder right now.
Oh man.
Nolan, kind of a similar story. I think he might have the best roster outside of the quarterback position, and if it weren't for an injury, I think does have the best roster right now. Mac Jones isn't going to be negative 3 points all year, I hope. He might end up being 0 points all year because he might get benched.
Yeah.
But I think Nolan can recover from that. Zach Wilson, if he can hang around to 20 to 25 points. Who's his other QB? Off the top of my head, Stroud. That's right.
He's a good pick too. I
Yeah.
picked him up in another league.
I think fantasy wise he will be fine there. Yeah, so he's 3rd, and then 3 I do have the Titletown Bearcats. Just weak at receiver, and honestly overrated. Titletown Bearcats overrated, big time.
I will say
Got some favorable matchups. Only 1,100 points scored against them on the year. That's 4th fewest in the league.
I will say he doesn't have the best roster, but as far as this weekly power rankings go, I couldn't move him off 1, which
No,
he'll appreciate
honestly,
I think he has maybe the 4th best roster, maybe.
overrated. Mid roster.
I like the I like
roster.
a couple other teams' rosters a bit more. Like you said, receivers very weak. You got Godwin from the Bucs.
Running back position isn't even that good either. He is.
Yeah, James Cook is kind of bland, and then.
Do you think he's about to hit a really bad streak here soon?
I'm not gonna say that because then that's when he's gonna actually rip it off and run it undefeated. But
Say it with your
I
chest.
don't think Reed is anywhere near as good as his 5-0 record. And so that's why he is number 3. And honestly, his 5-0 record is the only reason he's as highest.
So I'm gonna probably make a comparison. So you're saying Reed's team record is kind of like the Vikings of last season, 8-0.
That's not
but
the same things we mean now, right? No, you're right.
No, just
being undefeated, but shouldn't have been undefeated.
winning the
You're
close
right, no,
games.
yeah.
Yeah.
He hit it completely.
I would actually say yeah.
Yeah.
Just
That's
gonna,
a pretty fair comparison.
just gonna do what he
Yeah,
needs to
that's
each week to get enough done. And, yeah, absolutely.
The perfect comparison.
Yeah, probably the closest. Yeah, absolutely.
That
We're gonna
hurts.
get.
Sorry, I know you're.
You're
I
fine.
know.
Fine.
Yeah.
Tough loss, by the
It
way.
did.
Yeah, last week. By the way.
I mean, I hope
Yeah.
you lose here on out.
We got into some
honestly.
tough loss talk
Yeah.
for Vikings and Patriots earlier
Yeah.
for our pick'em episode. But number 4, I got AB's Welfare. Really solid roster. I really like the Dameon Pierce move for him. The only reason I don't like that trade is because it makes AB's Welfare that much better, and I think he's got a chance to be really solid for a couple of years too, as well. Number 5 would be the current, what is now Bryce's team. I think is my number 5. Such a really good starting 5. If he can go through and get the bench a little bit better there, get some of those defensive players off, I think he's looking really good on the year. After him, I have OG Snowbone, who 4-1, who I really think even more so than Reed is not as good as his record is showing. And I think he's going to fall in some hard times now that Jefferson's going to be hurt. His 3 receiver trio was... Yeah, that was his bloodline for sure. And now that that's broken, I don't know how it's going to be because he has the second least points scored against him this year at 1,062. So he's had decent matchups so far. And his total points, he is number 3 in total potential points and only number 6 in total points scored. So I can't put him super high despite his record.
I do like OG Snowbone's defensive lineman and linebacker, and DB. I kind of do like that trio right there. IDPs. I'm jealous. Yes,
it is a decent roster. I don't think it's quite as high as that. Go through these really quickly here. After that, I have the diversity hires at 7. Kind of similar. These next 3 teams, diversity hire, Tree J and Taint Stains, and actually the Conquistadors too. Those 4 all have the same record in league, and honestly, you could interchange them all throughout the power rankings, in my opinion, for the most part. But the way I have it right now is diversity hires, Tree J, Taint Stains, Conquistadors. But you could really kind of shuffle those 4 around in any way, and I think it would be pretty fair. I think diversity hires maybe should be the 7 seed out of all 4 of those, just because I think he's got a really solid running back room that you can really count on week in and week out. Other than that, I think you can kind of swap the other 3 around for sure. 11th and 12th, pretty self-explanatory. Got Tricky Dicky at 11 and Crash Implosion for the Trojan at 12. And honestly, you can make a really good case that it should be Tricky Dicky because... but you can also make a case he's been screwed by his matchup because he's had the most points scored against him this year. And while I think he has one of the not as good rosters in this league, probably a bottom 2 or 3, he definitely has not had any favors done for him as far as matchups go. Yeah. And that's the case for both of you. Have you got if you had Reed's matchups so far this year, I bet you probably had 2 wins.
Probably.
Yeah. And Coop taking over Bryce taking over the vacant team is actually 3rd in points scored against them. I'm 4th. So just right there, I think that's 4 teams right there. You look at the bottom of the league that you can look at them and say that if they're not getting matched up against people going off certain weeks, maybe their seasons are looking a little different now. But that's what you play the game. That's how the game goes. Yeah, certainly some. I really like the way the league's kind of opening right now, standings wise, as we wrap up those power rankings. Record wise, we've got, as far as record wise, we got our clear contenders, a couple of clear non-contenders, and then everyone else in the middle, outside of those 4 on either side, is just competing, basically, for the same spots right now, and that's a lot of fun, and I love that it's competitive this first year, and I hope it stays competitive. So really quickly, we can finish up with our predictions for this week. Brady, what are you feeling about your matchup this week against Tree J?
You already know, bro. Tree J all the way, man.
Yeah. And he's off to a good start with Pat Mahomes putting up 30 points.
Keep it up, Pat.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
Yep. Got 6 to go in the 4th. They're up 16-0. I doubt you get too much more out of them. Probably trying to pound the ball to Pacheco at this point. I would guess. I don't know. I haven't kept up with it so far. Yeah. But, off to a good start there.
Yeah, he is off to a good start. Let's see.
I guess not a lot else to say there. Yeah. We know what the fuck's going on. Let's go Dong on TDs versus... I guess I will say I am also going to take Tree J. Who do you got in that matchup, Vic?
Tree J and Implosion.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping for the upset for Implosion. I'm kind of hoping you get your...
He wants to lose.
You want to lose bad?
You want to
lose?
I mean...
He wants the draft pick.
I would prefer...
He is in tank mode.
I am, yeah.
He is in tank mode.
I hate that word. I'm in an opportunity
playing to win every week, but he's in tank mode.
Okay.
Selling players for draft picks, so...
I can get that.
He can appreciate a loss.
Sure can. Every loss
I'm kind of
my cause.
I'm kind of hoping you win at least
one.
one.
Which I'm not going to be upset about a win either. That would be cool.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, because you do want at least one.
Watch this show, rattle off 9 in a row and fucking win the whole league.
Hey, you know what? That sets me up really good with my tricky dicky picks.
So
go ahead. Go right on ahead.
You would.
So we'll go on ahead. Dong on TDs versus AB's welfare.
That's going to be a good matchup.
Yeah, we got a little Thursday night action going already here. Chiefs defense, shutting out Denver. Got actually not a lot of fantasy points for a shutout, honestly. Most of the shutouts this year are over 40 points already.
Yeah,
I guess they still have time.
The Colts kind of, you're not getting those big defensive plays like picks or.
Yeah,
They did get their 2 picks.
They got 2 picks and 4 sacks,
Yeah.
but other than that,
They made their plays, but still, probably going to get about 40 points out the defense. So
imagine,
not a bad start there for AB.
got Herbert versus Dallas, Josh Allen versus the Giants. Whew. Yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be an interesting match.
Damian Pierce he's starting Pierce this week, and I don't like that against the Saints. I don't think that's going to go well for him. What's Jerome Ford been doing? Had a bye last week. Yeah, okay. So
steady at least.
Jerome Ford has been kind of been. From
We'll
what I
see.
saw, he's been pretty good so far.
Yeah.
Cap, no, he hasn't. He's actually been pretty ass. Look at his yards per carry. That dude
Yards
sucks.
per carry, but
That
as
dude
far
sucks,
as like
Outside of 1 carry, he's been ass this year. Like, maybe not fantasy-wise, but I would not count on him fantasy-wise going forward, especially after this bye week. They've got more time to scheme up for Kareem Hunt.
I think Kareem Hunt's washed.
I think he gets probably more. I think he probably gets better usage this year than Jerome Ford throughout most of the year. Just 'cause the
His
passing game.
week two kind of blew up, and then kind of underperformed a little bit here
Yeah,
and there. But so far,
Week 2 was that one run I was talking about where he ran for 69 yards, which is why he averaged 6.63 yards that week. And if you take out that 1 yard, he averaged he had the same amount of attempts and would have also averaged 2.4 yards per carry, as just like he did in week 1 in that week. So he would be averaging outside if it's not for that carry. I don't think Bro is averaging 2.5 yards per carry this year.
It's bad.
Yeah, he's ass, and he's barely playing 50% of the snaps.
He's going up against San Francisco too.
Yeah, and looking at the schedule, he's got San Francisco, Indianapolis, they're not great against the run. They got some run guys. Seattle, they're okay. Got Baltimore. You got Pittsburgh. None of these are the worst matchups, but he doesn't have a ton of great matchups coming up. So I don't know.
I think he'll do good against San Francisco because if you watch the Niners Rams game, Kyron Williams kind of ran all over him too. So
That's the one bugaboo with San Francisco.
Even though they still lost, Kyron
see.
Williams kind of ran all over him. So it could happen.
They might scheme it up. It is a running-based offense, so they might. And fantasy-wise, he might be able to salvage the year because you can average 2.5 yards per carry and be fantasy relevant. Going back to the matchup, though, receiver-wise, I would say that's probably close to a wash. Pretty fair matchup there. Keenan Allen and A.J. Brown against Nakua and Waddle.
That's a pretty.
I don't hate that. I think Jay the Waddle
Allen
gets going as the year. I think
he will.
this week is part of that, too. Tight end. Yeah, edge to Dong on TDs there, probably.
Yeah, I probably would too, because Evan Ingram's far more
consistent.
than Kincaid, and I haven't seen
Yeah.
shit from Kincaid lately, so.
Yeah.
I'm gonna roll with Carson. Dog on TDs.
Yeah. I'm probably going AB here. His flex side's better, I feel like. Well, yeah. I'll take his flex options. I'll take Baker over Carr at the super flex. And plus he's already off to a good start with his defense here. That kind of influencing my pick right now. Yeah, I'm gonna go AB's welfare. What'd you say, Victor?
I think I probably take Ab's welfare, Team AB's welfare over Dong on TDs too as well, just based on just looking at overall his pick, his starting squad and the Chiefs defense. Even though I'm a Chiefs fanatic, so it's kind of hard for me not to say no to the Chiefs.
Well, you guys are wrong. So.
But hey, we can anything can happen. It's why fantasy is so interesting.
Yeah. All right, next matchup, we got New York Diversity Hires versus Team Nolan. Let's see. Right now, Diversity Hires are favored at 54%. Definitely taking that QB matchup in Lawrence versus Jones. Running back, I'll probably... gosh. If Pollard plays, that's going to be tough to say because I don't... Well... I'll probably give the edge to the running backs to the Diversity Hires. Receivers, that's definitely Nolan right there.
Definitely.
Tight end, what did Schultz do? I heard he's been doing a little better. Yeah, okay, 21, 13, okay. Yeah, I don't know if I trust that to quite continue. What's Waller been doing?
Not much.
Not much at all.
I could honestly kind of compare them. They both have a couple games where they broke out. A meth game, meth game. I guess you could call it a meth game if you want. And then a couple of games that weren't very good. Flexes, I'm definitely, maybe not definitely. Who's Thielen? I'm going to kind of call that a wash right there.
I got a Thielen.
Stroud versus Howell. That should be interesting. Stroud's going against New Orleans defense. I don't know right there. IDP and defense. I'm not super big on New Orleans IDP, so I'll probably give the edge over to diversity hires. I think I'm going to go diversity hires.
I agree.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree too a little bit. I mean, there's some matchups I see that could possibly swing towards Nolan a little bit, like the Cowboys defense, but at the same time, it's the Cowboys defense. So.
For sure. All right, going forward on to the next matchup, Snowbone versus Tricky Dicky. Pacheco going off, yeah, that doesn't surprise me with them being up late in the game. Denver did actually just score, I see. They're at 8 points.
Like Chiefs are about to score again, though.
Okay. Yeah, 1st and 10 on Denver 28, yep. Pacheco got 15 carries for 63 yards. He's been a sneaky good pick this year.
Yeah.
He got really good value on that draft pick for where he drafted him. Yeah, Pacheco having another nice solid game. Jameson Williams on the other side, not having a terrible game. Or Javonte Williams, Jameson Williams. Javonte Williams, probably looking like he's going to finish with about 10 fantasy points. Not terrible, but probably about what you expect out of Javonte, I'd guess.
Mm-hmm.
Rashee Rice, nice. I like Rashee Rice this year. Russ Wilson, not having a good fantasy game. Not having a good game in general. It looks like touchdown, 2 interceptions.
Yeah, very bad performance.
Yeah, unless Fields goes off.
Very well could.
Yeah, if Fields goes off again, I don't know, but he's starting Jonathan Taylor, and we don't know for sure if Jonathan Taylor's going to get Jonathan Taylor usage this week. Zach Moss might get. They might at least go to 50-50 this week. It might not still be a lot. This is a tough one to pick.
I'm going OG.
Yeah, I'm going to go OG, and I hope he does too, for the sake of my draft pick.
I kind of hope OG does well too, so I kind of see it happening with who he has left to play. I mean, outside of Devontae Adams being questionable, it's good possibility. Devontae Adams doesn't play, and then of course
that's a good point.
If Devontae Adams doesn't play, it's a good chance that
I don't know if he's got any good options to replace him. All right, lastly, we can go to mine and then finish up with. Should we finish up with mine, or should we do Conquistadors and Titletown last?
It's up to you.
Up to you. I don't care which.
Great answer, guys.
Why don't you break down your matchup?
All right, yeah. All right, let's go with mine. All right, I am going up against Team Bryce this week. Hopefully he gets a team name going. Honestly, I like my odds because he's got some bye weeks going this week, and I'm definitely picking a good week to play a talented team, or a team that has a lot of good starters. I'm facing them on a good week too, at least on paper, anyways. At least on paper, not know what.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think if Joe Burrow's coming out of his shell, getting healthy again, like it's looking like he is, I think he can hang with Matt Stafford. Although I do expect Matt Stafford to have a good fantasy day. I kind of expect both QBs to have a good day. I think their projections are both probably pretty fair. Running back wise, he's gonna have to pick somebody up off the waiver wire to start there. And right now, there's not a lot of good options unless he wants to move. Who's he got in his flex? Yeah, he has no running backs in his flex. So unless Saquon is healthy, he's gonna have to pick someone up. And so in that case, I do like my running back options, even though he does have McCaffrey. Although I will say McCaffrey is definitely one of those running backs that has the potential to outscore both my running backs by himself.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's true. He will do that
So that is there, but Kenneth Walker coming off against a bye, good matchup against Cincinnati. I like that. Hopefully that works out well. Breece Hall, I think he's going to start getting some more work. It is a tough matchup against Philly,
But I think they're going to have to rely on him at least a little bit early in the game. So hopefully he can get some production out of him. If not, hopefully he can catch the pass. Dalvin Cook's usage has been going down each week, so that's a good sign for me. Receivers.
Last time I drop him too, honestly.
I would say I like myself. CeeDee Lamb, I got high hopes for him coming on the squad, especially against the Chargers team. That should hopefully be a shootout, and he should get some good targets and some receptions there on a Monday night. Jordan Addison, got him with Justin Jefferson being out. He's obviously probably going to be a lot bigger part of the game. And I think that bodes well for me in a couple of ways because I also have Andre Madison down there at my flex, and so I think they're going to run the ball a little bit more. What did I say?
Andre Madison. Alexander Madison.
Alexander Madison. I think that's going to get him some extra carries, maybe get him a couple extra targets on the day. So that should be good for me. Justin Jefferson being out should be good for me. Jonnu Smith, hoping Atlanta continues right there with Dallas Goedert, who came out his shell. I'll give the edge to him just off the brand name right there, although I think you could argue it's a wash. At flex, I like that easy. Corinne Williams, top 10 running back in the league this year. Alex Madison, top 25 this year in the league. Like I said, I think he's going to have a good matchup week, I think, for both of them. To score some points, get some yards, and definitely outdo these receivers here at his flex positions. And then in his super flex, he's going to have to go find someone else to start unless he wants to start Tyler Higbee or Cole Kmet there, which I guess he could do. And then I like my IDP spots against him, and I like my team defense too as well. I like my Saints defense. So I am riding the Stain wave, the Tane Stain wave, and the Stain wave, yeah, that's what we call it, the Stain wave. And
based off his matchups and bye weeks, I'm gonna have to agree.
Yeah, I have to agree too. Like I would have to say, yeah, you have a better chance of winning this unless he pulls off some magical shit and McCaffrey balls the fuck out like he always does. So
yeah,
I have to agree. Tane Stains for the win there.
Okie doke. All right. I will be right back. But while I am gone, real quickly, Victor, why don't you go ahead and start talking about this matchup? Victor, let's talk about like how you feel about it. You got Travis Kelce already off to a nice start there at 25 points. Harrison Butker with 17.5. Fuck, that's a nice start.
Yeah, that's a nice kicking day for sure. God damn.
Open because I'm actually kind of.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, this is gonna be a close matchup.
Yeah, very close.
Yeah. Cooper Kupp should go off against the Cardinals.
I'm kind of glad I traded for Cooper Kupp, to be honest.
Yeah, it was a good risk taking for sure. I needed a receiver right away and didn't want to risk him not coming back the same, but he obviously did, so that's good for you for sure.
Kind of hoping Zach Moss also does what he did last week.
Yeah, if he can get the same amount of carries as he did, he should ball out. I think they're still probably going to ease Jonathan Taylor back into the offense, so it might be a couple weeks before he really starts taking a hit in his production. Oh, man. Yeah, this is a straight up across. This is a really tough choice to...
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts against the Jets. Man. Bucker. I'm probably going to lean towards you, honestly. But, yeah, a lot of, really, I think it might come down to Zach Moss and how much production he gets, really.
Yeah, I've honestly, I'm kind of rooting for myself to pull off the win, even though right now it's set.
Yeah, obviously.
I want the win, and if I beat Titletown, I'm probably be really petty about it. Be like,
yeah.
You
I
got
feel
it.
that
If you want help doing it, we got you.
No, we will pile it on.
And honestly, this, like I said, this is now the third season of playing fantasy football with Reed, so this is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Kind of if I meet him as like, give your first L, bitch.
Yeah.
Suck it easy.
Yeah, and that would also really open up the league too, bringing Reed a little bit closer to everyone else, and also putting your team at 3-3. That would be really big in the league right there.
But it all depends on how good Brock Purdy and Kittle play tomorrow, Sunday afternoon against Cleveland, which I can see them doing. So I mean, just looking at basic matchups too. It's Tua versus Kirk. I'm sure Tua's gonna just tear apart Carolina, and who knows how good Kirk Cousins is gonna do against Chicago Bears defense. And then like running backs, I think I have them on a slight edge, even though it's Josh Jacobs and I have Kamara and Zach Moss. That James Cook is kind of. I don't know. He's kind of. I hear he's not doing as good as he should. He has had 3 really good games at least from what I've seen so far, but we'll see what happens. And then wide receiver wise, I feel like I have a way better receiver room than he has with Cooper Kupp and DJ Moore.
Yeah. I feel like right now, especially with some of these advantages you're getting already in the week.
KJ Osborne's getting a lot more targets with.
And what did McDuffie just do to up his points? Because he was just at 2 points and he just went to 7.
He had 2 total tackles and then a forced fumble.
Oh, forced fumble. He must have done. Yeah. He must have just done that. The forced fumble, I think.
Yeah.
So that right there, he just kind of even saved his value right there because now you're getting the 7 points out of him, which you'll take out of a defensive back.
Yeah. Given he's been in the double digits for like a couple weeks now in a row, so. Single L7s is not too bad.
Yeah. I mean, all the positions you've played so far are off to a really good start. And the positions you haven't played, I kind of like your matchups more, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, kind of early, like I was saying about your first 5 or your first 6. Your first 6. Poised to have a pretty good week if Zach Moss is still getting some good work this week. Your first 6 should annihilate his. I feel like your running backs can outscore his quite easily. Same with your receivers. He might beat you with Kirk Cousins on Tua. He might get you there.
True.
It's possible, but Kirk Cousins is also going to be without Justin Jefferson now, so we'll see how he responds there.
Yeah.
But tight end, even if Sam Laporta has a good week, I doubt he's going to beat Kelsey's 25, although he could. Flex. He's probably gonna win the flex battle, but I think your upside and ceiling on the flex this week is way higher because if Kittle goes off and Osborne go off, which they're both I think capable of doing this week, that you could easily win that. I feel like Atwell and Flowers are probably the more consistent options right there, and then super flex he's got Hurts and you got Purdy. I think that's a pretty fair battle. I feel like if you don't win the kicker battle right here, I mean, hats off to Young Ho Kway, like Young Wei Koo. Yeah, hats off to him because he's gonna have a hell of a kicking day if he beats you there. Defensively, team defense. You're starting the Rams, yeah. That could actually be pretty close. It depends on what Arizona does, how spunky they're feeling.
Yeah.
Joshua Dobbs is playing
Let me look at these IDPs. Daniel Hunter. He's been pretty solid at D-line. Okay. What's Shaq Leonard been doing? I know he did have a good game, didn't he? Yeah, he had that 18. Okay, 17, so he hadn't been too bad. And I'm guessing that 0 he didn't play. Jack Campbell. Personally, I'm only saying this just because taking down Titletown, if I were you, I would go try to find one of the better linebackers on the free agent market before Sunday and put him in there in place of Jack Campbell. Because Zaire Franklin's going to guarantee get Reed probably like 22, 23 points.
Yeah.
And that's a spot where he's probably definitely going to whoop your ass right there. Because Jack Campbell, I would love Jack Campbell on my taxi squad right now. Because I think he's going to be really nasty fantasy-wise in year 2. And he's okay right now. I personally think that might be a weak spot for you this week. And then, the defensive back, I mean,
you got a pretty average, I would say, defensive back game out of him. What's
Yeah.
Jalen Petrie done so far coming back from injury? Wow, he had a really good game last week, 30 points. Yeah, I'm sure that's why we took him right off the trading block again. Man. Just I'm gonna go with you just because the advantages you've already got at the
Yeah.
kicker and the tight end. I feel like you've got a really good chance to get a win here, and because I'm rooting for you too.
I really would love to give someone who's undefeated their first W.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with.
It would just be monumental, honestly.
You're
I'm not trying to talk shit on Reed.
Conquistadors.
Cool.
Cool.
Roll with Vic too.
We're all in Vic. Awesome. I love the Titletown hate. I love it. The Titletown are my HDP Chiefs, basically. or Bears. Chiefs Bears.
There you go.
Just the
There's
team.
those Bears
Just the team I
claws.
gotta hate on no matter what it is.
Yeah, I kind of feel you because I know I'm understanding what the Patriots, all the hate the Patriots got over the last 20 years.
I know the Patriots are that team for a lot of people. Believe me, I hear about it all the time.
Now I feel it's like
People are still butthurt. Like, bro, we're paying the price. I promise. We're paying the price. All right, so that's all of this week's predictions, guys. Well, I guess first, actually, before. Well, yeah, go ahead and subscribe. All that good stuff. Share with your friends. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. All that stuff will be in the show notes. Thank you to Slick Vic, the Conquistadors. Pronounce that right now. For coming in this week and joining us.
Happy to be here, honestly.
For real. Coming in clutch with Reed not being able to join this week, so it's always good to have the third. Yeah. So it was a good time. Hopefully, I'm sure you have a matchup against one of these guys throughout the rest of the year. Maybe we'll have you back on to talk some fantasy later in the year. Or do we play each other at some point this year?
I think we do.
Again? I think we played each other twice because we've already played each other once,
Yeah,
haven't we?
week 1 was my first W, so I was kind of pretty good on that one.
Yeah, maybe we'll have you on for for our next matchup. When is that?
Not till week 12, actually.
Good. Later in the year. That's actually good. That way some time passes, some things change throughout the league. We'll have some fresh stuff to talk about. Our teams will probably be in different situations, so we'll have some new stuff to say.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. Yeah, well, man, good luck against Titletown this week. I think the whole league's rooting for you. And with that, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up the episode. Thanks, Vic, for joining in.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Later.
Peace.
Sweet.